Hey, my super economics peeps. Welcome to e-learning, a surprise for all of us, right? I know that there are some of you that have not even been in my classroom yet. So I'm going to start from scratch and then I'm going to do a quick review over lessons 1, 2, and a concept of lesson 3 very quickly. And that'll be a review video. Okay. All right. So if you are in Canvas, for the first time, I have mine broken up into these wonderful modules, okay? And so you're going to look for these type of modules with the date on them, okay? And within that, if you click on e-learning for the week, you will see exactly what we're going to be doing or what we have done, okay? So Monday, right here, we talked about scarcity, needs, wants, and the 3 questions of economics. We did a kidney dialysis worksheet where we chose who lived and who didn't. Tuesday, we went over factors of production. You do need to know all 4 of those. And then Wednesday, which is today, is going to be a review video, okay? But you're going to go through here and you're going to see what you have missed or what needs to be done, okay? For those of you that do not have an online book yet, here is your code. And to get to that book, you're going to get into Canvas and come up here to Connect Ed, hit join a class, and then type in that code, okay? Any questions on any of that, you need to holler at me through email, okay? Communication is gonna be incredibly important during this e-learning time. All right, so hey, super peeps, let's just do a really quick review, okay? We talked about here how people try to satisfy unlimited needs and wants, but our resources are scarce. That's econ. We're always having to make choices in life, okay? We talked about things that were scarce, and of course we could talk now about Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer and toilet paper. We could add that to the list. We talked about needs and wants, pretty self-explanatory. You can go through that, but I will stop here at this chart, okay? Even make it larger. So we've got unlimited wants, but our resources are limited, therefore things are scarce, therefore we have to make choices. And if we make ourselves a bigger entity than just you and me, and we make ourselves, I don't know, a country or a business, we're going to ask these questions: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce for. It's important that you know those questions, okay? And they're going to answer them all differently. So a country like, let's see here, North Korea, ignore that, that shouldn't have come up yet. But a country like North Korea, Syria, somebody threw out the other day, it might choose to produce tanks, weapons. We kind of joked about North Korea producing nukes, but they're not going to go very far. They're just going to fizzle out in the Sea of Japan, okay? And then Muncie, what are we going to produce? Are we going to produce these really, really rich homes, more middle-class homes? Are we going to focus more on subsidized housing that your lower income groups are going to live in? And each entity has to make that decision. The country has to choose. The city has to choose what to produce, okay? How are you going to produce it? Are you going to send it overseas? Are you going to have robots, okay? Half the population in Japan is over the age of 45 and they feel like that's old. So therefore they have robots making the products. Are you going to keep it here in good old America? Boom, made in the USA, right? Are you going to send it to Mexico? A lot of entrepreneurs will send their products overseas because that means more profit in their pocket because they don't have to pay as much in labor. We also talked for whom to produce for. Are you producing for the wealthy, those that need a little bit of government support, or more for your middle class? Okay, 3 questions of economics: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce for. You need to understand those, okay? So that was lesson 1. Let's go on to lesson 2 here. Let me X out of that. Lesson 2 was factors of production. That's what we talked about yesterday. There's 4 factors of production. The first one was land. The most confusing thing to remember here is that animals are part of land. Okay? Remember that. Then we talked about labor. And then we talked about capital. Capital is also very confusing because capital is anything that you need to run your business. So if I am a baker, I'm going to have an oven, a blender, frosting, anything that I need to run my business is capital. Remember that. That's a confusing question for a lot of people on the test, okay? And so from that, kind of go here, we've got two more terms that we're going to go by, which is capital good and a consumer good. So I'm going to take my capital good, which I need to run my business, and I'm going to make a consumer good, and I'm going to sell it. So if I have this drill, that is the good that I need to run my business, and I'm going to make it consumer good, which is the bookcase, and I'm going to sell it for a profit. Okay? Make sense? Super. I hope so. Okay. Entrepreneur is the fourth one. So we have land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And entrepreneur is probably the most important piece of FOP, meaning factors of production. Okay. Simply defined, an entrepreneur as a risk taker. They're the most important, though, because they provide jobs, they provide innovation, they provide new technology, and they make our life easier. But boy, they're a risk taker because in the beginning, they're risking their own money. Okay. And then we talked here a lot about just different entrepreneurs. We have Elon Musk. We've got Tesla. He owns SpaceX. I'm telling you, go sit in a Tesla. Ooh, it just hugs you. Of course, good old Bill Gates here with Microsoft, right? Good old Xbox. And then I threw this guy up, and not a lot of people knew who he was, but he's Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, right? Genius, putting everything in one store so you can lower the prices. Brilliant. And of course, we've got Zuckerberg. And then we have all these guys, Richard Branson. Got Simon Cowell later. He also wants to try to get into space, having just regular people like you and me get into space and be able to afford it. So he started the Virgin Galactic company and did a test flight. Unfortunately, this is how it ended in 2014. And 2 pilots ended up dying. Let's see if I can get that in there. Yeah, so this part fell, and that's where the pilots were. So, and we talked in class too about how, yes, it's horrible that those 2 pilots lost their lives, but in order for technology to get better, and I know it sounds harsh, but we have to practice. And if things like this happen, it is horrible, but it will lead to better technology. It will lead to possibly you and I going into space. Entrepreneurs have to try. See, they're risk takers. Then we got from our U.S. history time period, he had the steel, Andrew Carnegie. Here's Simon Cowell, broke his back on an e-bike, which is like a bike with a motor. And then we've got here, I say Walt, you say Disney, right? Boom. Okay, entrepreneurs. Then in class, we watched a video about this guy. His name is Kevin A. Plank. He's the founder of Under Armour. If you watch this video, which I think you need to, first 5 minutes, it's going to just basically tell you how he started his company. And ignore the numbers because it's an old video, but right now, as of 2019, his company was worth $3.5 billion, all from an idea that he got in his basement. All right. Then we talked about this, and I think this is the real kicker here, is this is one of the first home computers. It was an Apple IIe, $1,200. Has the same buying power. I haven't updated my numbers yet to 2020, but yeah, $5,000. That was an incredibly expensive computer. And then this is your first Macintosh. Look at that, 1984, 2,500, same buying power is almost $6,000. So the other thing too about entrepreneurs, see, what's happened to computers? They've gotten smaller and they have gotten cheaper. I think, now don't quote me on this, but to replace your Chromebook, it costs like $300. That's incredible. It totally beats this in this. This was actually our first home computer right here. All right. I'm going to let you just run through this. It just shows you reiterates what I've already said about entrepreneurs. And ultimately, their final goal is to make a profit. Now, here's the other thing too, is that we use these scarce resources. We already said resources are scarce. And so it's the responsibility of an entrepreneur to use those resources wisely. And they know that they're using them wisely if they are making a profit. The consumers are buying, they're making a profit. Therefore, they must be using their resources wisely. And that is their responsibility. Okay? If you want to be wealthy in life, an economist will tell you, learn how to help people. Okay? I mean, you think about these grocery store services, they help people because they grocery shop for you and people save time to deliver it right to your door. Brilliant, right? So figure out how to help people and you'll make some money. There's our buddy, Sam Walton again. He figured out how to sell large inventories at a reduced price. Brilliant. And of course, our buddy here, Bill Gates. And so we have to ask, out of all those entrepreneurs, are they motivated by love and concern for you and me? Or are they motivated by money? Or could it be both? And is it okay that their motivation is money? Because ultimately they're helping us. Entrepreneurs got our computers smaller. They got our cell phones smaller. We got people grocery shopping for us. Makes my life easier. Do I care that they were motivated by money? No, I don't personally. But that's just something you'll have to answer on your own on if motivation by money is either good or bad. Okay? Here's a video. It basically says, would you give up the internet for $1 million? It's interesting. It goes through some entrepreneur ideas. It's kind of cheesy. It's an old school video, but it's still pretty good. You can laugh at it if you want to. But, here's something that's interesting about the internet. There's a huge gap right here. It says it. There's a huge gap between worth and cost. And I'll be honest, we pay about $82 for internet. And that's high speed internet because my boys are gamers. Okay. And we stream our TV. So we need a high speed internet. And if you ask my boys, could you live without the internet? They would tell you no. So I look at something that is considered priceless to them, and I only pay $82 for it. It's a huge gap between worth and cost. It's crazy. People could charge more for the internet and people would buy it. But the costs have definitely remained low. Boom, entrepreneur, right? Okay, so that is the end of that one. Still videotaping here, and I'm going to pause it right here, guys. If you have any questions, you need to email me, and I would probably read chapter 1.